Hello, Longhorns. My name is Gilessa Chavez. I'm one of the graduate assistants in the Longhorn Center for Academic Equity. And today we are going to be talking about apartment searching. So come along with me, if you will, please. Right around here. All right. So when it comes to apartment searching, we are talking about looking for a place that is usually off campus. But before I begin talking about that, it is important that we note some things we already know. So, for example, we're going to talk about the difference between dorms and apartments. We're going to talk about off-campus living, how to get started, what SMART housing is, and some frequently asked questions related to bus routes, red flags, and what legal services can do for you here at UT. So you should be asking yourself, what is the difference between an apartment and a dorm? Some differences are within these categories. There's a difference between budgeting, your time versus your money, your food, and distance and isolation. So in a dorm, some pros are that food is provided, that the laundry is on site, and that it is on campus. Some cons when the dorm is that it looks more expensive up front, and sometimes you don't always get to pick your roommate. You may end up being with a roommate you don't particularly get along with. With an apartment, there are similar pros and cons. An apartment is usually bigger and it does look cheaper up front. However, an additional con, similar to that of a dorm, is that you don't always get to pick your roommate. The cost also fluctuates per month, such as internet, light, water. Apartments are usually further away from campus, and if you're late on rent, you do have to pay a late fee, and it may mess up your credit. Apartments also require deposits. Now, talking about specifically apartments, there is what is called student living versus traditional living. First, we'll start with talking about student living. Student living is when a person has an individual lease and utility bills. You're not financially responsible for your roommates. They're typically furnished and includes internet, cable, and trash services. There are UT shuttles, washer and dryer, and most residents are college students. And usually the apartment complex hosts community events such as sports or political watch parties, for example. In traditional living, leases are for the whole unit. And what that means is that everyone is responsible for late fees. Traditional living usually means that the place is not furnished, which means you would have to provide your own furniture. There's internet, cable, and trash services that are not included, so you would have to look for internet, cable, and trash yourself. Traditional living may not always be by a UT shuttle. Parking is available, and typically community washers and dryers. So what that means is that you would have to share a washer and dryer with your co-tenants and anybody else that lives in the complex. Here, the difference is that residents are usually families or working professionals. Now let's discuss the difference and the pros and cons between a roommate and not having a roommate. A pro behind having a roommate is that you can split the rent and space to keep it clean. So let's work on your part. However, a con is that you might risk having an annoying roommate, maybe who can't compromise, maybe someone who you do not get along with. Another con may be that you don't have privacy. Not having a roommate does have its own pros and cons. A pro is that you can keep your place as tidy as you want. You do have more space, and there is no compromising with another person. However, you are responsible for paying rent on your own since you are not depending on another person. Unfurnished versus furnished. So, what is an unfurnished unit? An unfurnished unit is a place that does not have furniture. A pro to that is you can pick your own furniture. A con to that is that you must carry your own furniture when you move in, and well, furniture can be expensive and quite heavy. If you're not looking to do that, you could look into having a furnished unit. A furnished unit is one that already comes with furniture. A pro is that you don't have to pay for the furniture. Usually it's already part of the rent. And another plus is that you don't have to move in with heavy furniture. A con, however, is that you can't keep the furniture once you move out. And if you end up damaging the furniture, for example, let's say you have a pet like a cat who scratches the couch, and the couch was already part of the apartment, it does get taken out of your deposit. Another con is that the furniture that's already there might be ugly. You can always ask if it can be taken out. So you're probably wondering about costs and what is the difference. Here is an analysis of the different costs between a dorm and an apartment. As you can see, the rent is drastically different, and dorms include both housing and dining, so keep that in mind. Housing and dining for $15,491 per year in a dorm. However, it is only typically 9 months. However, you do have internet, cable, and food. With a traditional apartment, it can range here in Austin from $7,200 to $18,000 per year. So that breaks out to about $600 to $1,500 per month per person. Apartments usually lease for 12 months, and your spending on food, groceries, and other necessities can range, but on average, most Austinites spend about $546 per month. Some other amenities that differentiate the two are parking and a living space, and if there's a bathroom or a living room or a kitchen. Usually in a dorm, you only have a shared bath. An apartment does have usually bedroom, bath, living room, and a kitchen. I want you guys to realize that the parking is also distinctly different. In a dorm, you can have an R garage that will cost you $309 to $887, or the C/C plus permit, which ranges from $52 to $232. In an apartment, you do usually have parking on site, or you may have covered parking, which is an additional extra cost to you, or you may do lot street parking if it is available. Talking more about the cost, let's look at an average 2-bedroom apartment. So this is a 2-bed, 1-bath, which means a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. This will range about $1,254 per person per month. What does that break down to? That breaks down to the rent of $662.50 for a 12-month lease. You do want to keep in mind that this rent is relatively low because it is away from campus. So the further away you are from campus, the cheaper it is. You also have food, housing needs, and dining out, plus other necessities. Again, that ranges out to about $546. Utilities like gas and water and internet can range about $86 per person. Some more common apartment amenities that we've already kind of mentioned, and some more, are a pool, a gym, usually 24-hour security patrol, a game room, yes, an actual game room, covered parking, bus route proximity, a laundry room, or an in-unit washer and dryer, and volleyball/basketball courts. So here are some words for you. We have housing financial words here, and I want to draw our attention to guarantor. Guarantor is a person responsible for the rent and any other charges incurred during the lease term if the tenant cannot pay. They do not have to live with you. So a guarantor is usually a parent or a guardian that can guarantee that if you're not able to make your rent, that this person can cover for you. As mentioned, they usually don't live with the person. So this can be, again, a parent or a guardian that you trust. We also have more words here regarding housing law. I want to draw the attention to roommate/co-signer here. A roommate/co-signer is a person who usually shares the common space, but also pays their share of the rent. So unlike a guarantor, a roommate slash co-signer is responsible for usually half the rent, half the utilities, and they do live with you. A roommate and a co-signer do sign together. So let's say I myself want a space but cannot afford it on my own, so I find a roommate. Me and my roommate will sign the same lease. We also have other housing words here that I've already covered. So, where do I live off campus? Some things to ask yourself are what your priorities are. Do you want roommates? Do you have a budget? Do you have furniture? Do you have reliable transportation? What are your housing needs? These are some things you need to think of before you even start your search. You do have plenty of options, however. Most popular here in Austin, West Austin, West Campus. We also have North, Hyde Park, Riverside, Far West, and East. Here is a map of Austin. UT is located right here in the center. As mentioned earlier, West Campus is the most popular place that students live in, but we also have other areas such as downtown, East Austin, and Riverside over here. So, what we're going to be looking at is comparing the neighborhoods here. I did find a Reddit page for neighborhoods here in Austin. If you want to open that tab, it's right here. You can compare neighborhoods here in Austin. We have West Campus, North Campus, Riverside, and others. It does give you a location plus a description of each place. So this is a good way to start. So just to compare Riverside versus West Campus, which are pretty popular. Riverside does have a distance from campus, and there is a sense of community in shops, which I consider pro. A con is that the commute is usually 1 hour via bus, and not all bus routes work on the weekend, so you do have to plan to travel. In West Campus, you are close, but it can be expensive, and it is considered a party area, which can be distracting with loud music, and well, just a lot of crowds. There's also usually construction. So to get started, you have to start with an apartment finder or listings. So usually use Facebook class page, Google, or go directly to the website of the apartment. You can get friends together and start looking for a place. You can do apartment applications. You can do scheduling a tour. Also, what I need to mention is that apartment applications usually require a proof of income, which means 3 recent pay stubs to prove that you can afford 2 to 3 times the rent. You also need a good credit score. When scheduling a tour or a virtual tour, you have to notice if anything is off. Photos are not usually reflective of the reality. Another tip and trick I would add is to always keep a paper trail. What that means is to keep receipts or emails that you get sent from these potential landlords. You want to ask these questions here before you sign any lease. What utilities are included? What is the average cost of utilities per month? What day is rent due? Is there a pot deposit? These questions will save you some headache and will be able to eliminate some apartments from your list. Again, you want to ask these questions before ever signing a lease to be sure of what you're getting into. S.M.A.R.T housing. What is this? This is for low-income financial aid or a person with a disability. If you are need-based financial aid, you automatically qualify. Otherwise, you will need to prove that your income is below a certain median income for the area in which the particular property is located. This means that your rent is usually discounted. However, not every apartment accepts this, and options are limited. So I just want to reiterate that S.M.A.R.T housing is usually for students that receive need-based financial aid. If you can't prove that, your parents or anybody who is your source of income will need to prepare and provide a W-2 or the last 3 pay stubs. West Campus does offer SMART housing, but it is very limited. So here is another Reddit that I found that was very helpful, in my opinion, because it gives you information on more off-campus neighborhoods, overview, commute options, and other information like that. I believe this was crafted by UT students. And so I thought it was very helpful because it was pretty straight to the point. You can see a lot of information here. And here's another resource that I found. This is an off-campus finder. So you're able to find what you're looking for and see what is available. So I apologize, my internet is a bit slow. But what you can do here is you can navigate what is currently available and what area and cost and details are in the unit. So for example, let's say that I am looking for a 1-bed, 1-bath. What that means is 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. And let's say I'm looking for a 1-bed, 1-bath in West Campus. Okay, I guess we're selling for a studio and 1 bath. Nope, just kidding. 1 bed, 1 bath in West Campus. I'm going to plug this information here. I'm going to press West Campus, and hopefully sooner rather than later, I will get information over what is available in West Campus that is a 1 bed, 1 bath. And it seems like the information that was searched is here. As you can see, there is the cost, there are the names of the apartment complex, email, call. Sometimes if you even click the listing, it might give you additional information and photos. So I always recommend to call the place directly and verify that this listing is in fact correct. As you can see here, there is more additional information, but again, you do have to click on that. So some FAQs that we've already covered are here: how you find a place, how do you lease an off-campus property, how do you find roommates, how you sign a lease, and what are some red flags. Before going on to more FAQs, I do want to cover these bus routes. These are the most common main shuttles to campus. So if you are living off campus far away, these are some numbers you want to keep in mind for when taking the bus. This is a suggested time frame for anybody who's looking for off-campus housing. In January, we want to start searching for roommates if needed. Again, I would prefer friends or someone you can meet beforehand. In February/March, you want to start submitting your application or applications. By April, you want to have signed a lease. In May, you should know where you're living. And by July and August, you move in. So let's talk about red flags. So one major red flag is that you should never be charged for a tour. Let's say you're interested in a place and you want to visit it. Some scammers are going to tell you that they need $200 before you can even check out the place. This is a scam. You should never, ever be charged for a tour. There are also scammy bots that send apartment listings that aren't real. For example, let's say on Facebook, I post that I'm looking for a 2-bed, 1 bath in West Campus. Some random person may comment with a listing that is not real. Again, it is always best to call the place directly, or if they do not answer, to visit in person. You want to also research the area. How safe is it? Can I have my bike outside? You also want to look at pest control options if they're even provided. Here in the great state of Texas, we have a lot of bugs. So you want to be sure that you have that option available should you need it. Legal services also helps here at UT. As UT students, you all have the option to pursue legal services. one of the services they provide is landlord-tenant disputes. So they can help you with evictions or roommate disputes as long as they are also not AUT students, and even utility bills. Here is the website for legal services here at UT that covers a lot of great content if you're a first-time renter of an apartment. So I strongly suggest to read through this before signing a lease. Some more help here. If you're having trouble finding an apartment on your own, you can actually use apartment locating services. This is a person who shows you apartment complexes based on your preferences, and they get paid if you sign. Again, they are not supposed to charge you. They get paid if you sign one of the places that they showed you. You do have to be wary though, because sometimes they won't show you every apartment and they may show you the more expensive stuff. So you want to be wary of first-time apartment locator. I'm sorry, you want to be wary of apartment locators because again, they may only show you a limited scope. Here are my recommendations for first-time apartment renters, and I will provide the links below in the description. But you have the Quarters, which is a pretty popular big company in West Campus. They do accept S.M.A.R.T Housing, and you do have Estates at East Riverside and Village, which is also a big company on Riverside. If you're looking to pursue S.M.A.R.T Housing, there is an affordable housing online search tool that the city of Austin did pull together. So I know this was a lot, but I want to go ahead and provide my email should anybody need it. Please feel free to shoot me an email if you have any questions or need help. I know apartment searching can be scary, but we can do it. So if you have any questions, please email me right here. And I hope you enjoyed this presentation. And I hope that you find a place. Again, if you don't and you're having a hard time, please shoot me an email. Have a good day. Hook 'em.